Before the arrival of Europeans in North America, the region was populated by native tribes, some kind and peaceful, others warriors and ruthless, all of them with their beliefs, religions, and legends. With colonization, many of these fell into oblivion and were lost forever. Others merged with the myths of the new European settlers, and some remain to this day. In this video, we are going to get to know them. Remember to subscribe and like the video to support this channel. One, Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a large and powerful bird. In fact, it was said to be so large that it could pluck a whale from the sea as easily as an eagle catching salmon in its talons. To the native cultures of the Pacific Northwest and the Great Plains, the Thunderbird was a mythical creature that embodied strength and power. As the name implies, Thunderbirds were associated with thunderstorms. Its huge wings made the sound of thunder when they flapped, and according to some stories, it was said that it could even shoot lightning with its eyes. To the peoples of the Great Plains, their presence was a harbinger of rain, which could be a welcome sight or a destructive force, depending on the conditions. In some cultures, Thunderbirds go to war with other forces of nature. For the Arapaho, Thunderbird is the bird of summer who challenges White Owl Woman, the bird of winter, to see who has the greater powers. The Thunderbird represented the power of nature and the force of storms, but for the most part it was not a fearsome or malevolent creature. This mythical creature was revered as sacred. The tribes of the Pacific Northwest crowned their totem poles with carved images of Thunderbirds. 2. Yenaldlushi. The Navajo have myths and stories about a terrifying creature known as a Skinwalker, or Yenaldlushi. Skinwalker is a mythical entity that has the ability to transform into any animal or human it desires. Many of the legends claim that Skinwalker can only shapeshift if he uses the skin of the creature he wants to copy, but there are other stories that claim that they can also use human hair or nail clippings to shapeshift. Since the Navajo people believe that skinwalkers require animal pelts to make their transformation, it is considered taboo to have wolf, bear, and puma pelts in their culture, making it difficult for skinwalkers to steal skins and transform into these ferocious animals. The only skins the Navajo wear are sheep and deer skins. It's not nearly as scary for Skinwalker to turn into a sheep as it is to turn into a bear in his culture. The stories surrounding Yenaldlushi are pretty twisted. They're always up to wicked mischief and breaking Navajo taboos. They practice cannibalism, sitting in circles and eating piles or baskets full of human flesh. Traditionally, the intent of skinwalkers appears to be to harm humans. These creatures are fast and agile. Their agility and ability to shapeshift make them impossible to capture. They leave no traces, so they cannot be traced. According to Navajo stories, the only way to kill them is to dip a bullet into white ash and shoot the creature with it. 3. The Wendigo. In northern Algonquian traditions, the Wendigo was the spirit of winter, which could transform a man or woman into a cannibal with a heart of ice. The Wendigo, or Wendigo, Wetiko, and other names, a mythical creature of various Algonquian tribes, and the Wachuge, a similar legend of the Athabascan tribes of northwestern Canada, were magical creatures with a taste for human flesh. The Wendigo and the Wachuge can best be compared to today's modern zombies. They are described as ghostly emaciated, with gray skin, sunken eyes, and a shuffling gait. They reek of death and look like walking corpses. The Wachuge differs slightly from the Wendigo in that, according to Athabascan stories, the creature formed from glacial ice and came to life. His heart is frozen and therefore numb. The Wendigo, on the other hand, was once a human who was turned into a beast through cannibalism.
If you read enough of it, over years you become this less than human thing. You're always hungry.
There are also Wetiko, similar cannibalistic creatures found in the tribal cultures of northern Canada. These guys can be human or non-human, and whatever their powers are, it usually involves cannibalism to some degree. When a Wendigo or Wachuge feeds on one of its victims, that victim becomes one of them. Supposedly, the creature's desire for human flesh is so strong that they are almost insatiable. They are constantly prowling the forests where they live, looking for unfortunate humans to devour. In this way, the stories of Wendigo and Wachuge served as tales warning people not to wander the forest alone. According to some anthropologists, they may also have been used as a warning against cannibalism during the harsh winter months. 4. Endam Kino Wet. Native American cultures, like communities around the world, include stories of half-human, half-fish beasts. The Endam Kino Wet is the Algonquian version of the mermaid myth. Or rather, it's a merman. All the myths and legends of this mythical creature describe this being as a man who likes pretty young women. The Endam Kino Wet, so the stories go, lurks in lakes, rivers, and streams and harasses young girls and girls when they take off their clothes to bathe. Sometimes he doesn't even bother the women. He just watches a woman swim naked and wash herself. In other legends, the creature takes its voyeurism a step too far by swimming unseen below the surface to disturb an unsuspecting bather. The merman doesn't try to kill anyone, but he certainly lived up to his reputation as the perverted merman. 5. Atasaya. The Endam Kino Wet was not unique in North American mythology. Other mythical creatures also stalked young women, according to Native American stories. One of these more fearsome creatures was atasaya, a cannibalistic demon described by the Zuni people of the Southwest as huge and demon-like. Much larger than a normal human, the atasaya is covered in thick, knobby fur and long gray hair. He is muscular and scaly with bulging red eyes. Numerous tales in Zuni oral tradition describe atasaya kidnapping and cannibalizing young women. However, as threatening as atasaya was, most stories about this cannibalistic demon end with the creature's defeat. In one story, for example, atasaya lured a pair of beautiful young women into his cave. He tried to trick the young maidens into trying the soup he had been cooking, soup made from human children he had kidnapped. When that didn't work, he tried to convince the girls to style his silver hair. In this story, the two girls were saved by the Zuni god of war who killed the demon and rescued the maidens. 6. Numerigar. Various Native American tribes include stories of races of little people called Tehihan, Numerigar, and Pukwudgies. According to legends, these were not cute, cheerful, Disney-style dwarfs. Instead, they were strong, fierce, and great warriors. In some myths, the little people were magical forest gnomes, while in others they were a fearsome enemy. The Tehihan are said to have made their homes on the plains of Wyoming and Colorado, where they could take advantage of the Native Americans who also lived there. In many stories, the numerigar are an evil group living in Wind River and in the mountains of Wyoming. The numerigar, whose name means people eaters, lived in the Pedro Mountains near the Wind River in Wyoming. Both sets of little people were described as child-sized, incredibly aggressive and cannibalistic. Dwarves would kidnap and eat children, slaughter cattle, and attack adult warriors with ease. They were just as brutal to their own kind. As the stories go, the numerigar practiced a gruesome form of euthanasia by pounding the skulls of their own members who had become injured, sickened, or too old to be useful. Almost all of the myths surrounding these ferocious dwarfs conclude with accounts of how Native American tribes came together to fight an ancient battle against the Tehihan. The little people were soundly defeated, and the entire race exterminated. 7. Ogopoga. The Loch Ness Monster gets all the attention, but according to Native American myths and folklore, there are also rare and unidentified sea serpents that live in some of North America's largest lakes. Ogopoga in British Columbia and Flathead in Montana are two such creatures. The depths of Okanagan Lake in British Columbia are said to be home to a giant sea serpent-like monster measuring over 40 feet in length. Indigenous people in the region have long told stories about the creature, which they have named Ogopoga, or water demon. According to tradition, the beast demands a blood sacrifice before allowing anyone to cross the lake. Similarly, Flathead Lake, just across the international border in Montana, supposedly also has the same type of sea monster. Local indigenous groups believed that the lake monster could cause a terrible storm on Okanagan Lake and capsize boats unless a sacrifice was offered to it. To ensure safe passage, they carried a chicken, rabbit, or other small animal with them. They threw the poor chicken into the water to drown, thus appeasing the sea monster. 8. Piazza bird. The piazza bird was a mythical creature that supposedly lived on the steep cliffs along the Mississippi River, according to Native American myths. The piazza was quite different from the Thunderbird. It was depicted as a flying dragon in ancient paintings dating back to 1200 CE. In 1673, Father Jacques Marquette wrote about the piazza bird in the journal he kept while traveling in the area. In it, he claimed the creature was as large as cattle, with blood-red eyes and antlers on its head. The body was covered in scales, but had a human face. It also had a long, thin, snake-like tail. According to legends, the piazza bird ate human flesh, but not fresh meat. Rather, it went around when Native American warriors fought against enemy tribes. When the fighting was over, the piazza bird swooped down to dine on the bodies of fallen warriors. 9. Kachitowashku. The Penobscot Indians of the East Coast told stories of a giant, menacing, mythical creature called the kachitowashku, or stiff-footed bear. According to folklore, the monster was huge and crudely shaped like a bear, but with a much larger head and thick, inflexible legs. Legends surrounding the kachitowashku state that it stalked, killed, and devoured humans. Anthropologists researching the legends of the Penobscot people noted that depictions of kachitowashku resembled African elephants, which Native Americans would never have seen. That led to the theory that Native Americans discovered the skeletal remains of a prehistoric mastodon. Not knowing what the remains were, the people of Penobscot developed myths around the creature and its origins. 10. Bakwas. The bakwas was a ghostly creature that went back and forth between the human world and the ghost world. He is the wild man of the forest, the keeper of drowned souls, and children are taught to mistrust him. Captured by bakwas are condemned to eternal hunger, misery, wandering, and evil. If the bakwas came across a human lost in the forest, they offered him some food, but it wasn't normal food. It was ghost food. If the human ate it, he or she would also transform into a bakwas. 11. Yakwawiak. Yakwawiak were described as gigantic, monstrous beasts in Lenape, Mohican, and Shawnee mythology. Yakwawi, the mastodon, was one of those beasts, placed on Earth to be useful to man. But the great monstrous beast was ferocious, powerful, and invincible. Its skin was so strong and thick that the sharpest spears and arrows could hardly penetrate it. The creator told the Lenape that they would take part in this fight, and whether they should kill the yakwawiak. The legendary Great Bear also came to help, and was badly wounded in this battle, said to have taken place in the Ohio River Valley, west of the Allegheny Mountains. During the battle, Kishalamakhank, the creator, came and sat on a flat rock on top of the Allegheny Mountains to watch. He came a great number of the yakwawiak giants. The battle was fierce, and the slaughter was terrible. The mastodons were winning, and the Ohio River Valley was covered in the blood of fighting animals. But slowly the battlefield became one great quagmire, and many of the yakwawiak, due to their great weight, sank into the mud and drowned. Some modern Lenape storytellers describe the yakwawi as either a mammoth or a mastodon, although past recorded stories more often referred to it as a type of bear. 12. Mishipeshu. Mishipeshu, or underwater panther, is a powerful mythological creature, something of a cross between a puma and a dragon. Mishipeshu is a dangerous monster that lives in deep water and causes men and women to drown. Legends of some tribes describe Mishipeshu as the size of a royal lynx or puma, while in others the beast is huge. Mishipeshu has a very long prehensile tail that is often said to be made of copper. Details of the monster vary from community to community, but in many stories, water panthers are described as furry with deer horns or antlers, and a sharp, saw-toothed back. There is also a Cree version of the creature. 13. Aklut. Aklut is an orca spirit from Inuit mythology who takes the form of a giant wolf, or a wolf-orca hybrid when on land. He is a vicious and dangerous beast that ventured onto the land to hunt humans and other animals. Its tracks can be recognized because they are wolf tracks leading to and from the ocean, indicating that the creature is waiting for prey underwater nearby. Dogs seen walking towards or in the ocean are often considered to be one of these malevolent beasts. Little is known about this spirit other than that it can transform between an orca and/or a wolf. If you want me to bring a compilation of Inuit creatures, leave it to me in the comments below. 14. Wampus cat. The wampus cat, or Cherokee death cat, is a feline creature in American folklore that can be depicted as scary or comical, depending on the region. The wampus cat varies greatly in appearance, but is always feline in nature. It is usually depicted similar to a cougar or mountain lion with yellow or light brown fur, has yellow eyes, and often has 6 legs instead of 4. In Cherokee mythology, the monster is the feline incarnation of a bystander cursed by tribal elders as punishment for hiding under the skin of a large wild cat to witness a sacred ceremony. The wampus cat has been associated in various southeastern tribal beliefs as a shapeshifter. When one was sighted, active townspeople went on curfews and armed themselves against the creature. Although the dead cattle and sightings can be attributed to early coyote or jaguarundi intrusions, the cattle deaths were attributed to the wampus cat. 15. Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil is a legendary beast that is said to inhabit the area known as the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey, located in the United States. He is commonly seen as a kangaroo-like creature with goat-headed horns, leathery wings that resemble those of a bat, small arms with clawed hands, and cloven hooves, along with a forked tail. Strictly speaking, it is not clear if the Jersey Devil falls into the category of mythological creatures or modern urban legends. While there are many recounted origins for the Jersey Devil, the earliest legends can be traced back to Native American folklore. The Lenni Lenape tribes referred to the area around Barren Pines as Popuasing, meaning place of the dragon. Swedish explorers later called it Drake Matar, Drake translating to dragon and Matar meaning arm of the sea. One of the beast's many origins can be traced back to the Leeds family who lived in a New Jersey town consisting of Mr. and Mrs. Leeds and their 12 children. Mrs. Leeds became pregnant with her 13th, and many believe that she was cursed to give birth to a demon. According to the popular version of the legend, the newborn baby was malformed and hideous, killing the rest of the family and then escaping into the woods. 16. Jackalope. The jackalope is a mythical animal hybrid from North American folklore. The animals are described as a jackrabbit with antelope horns, or, more commonly, deer antlers. The legends of the horned rabbits go back to the Huichol myth, where they were described as mysterious creatures that gave the deer their horns. The creation of the jackalope is attributed to Douglas Herrick, Wyoming. It is believed that after returning from a successful rabbit hunt, he went into a taxidermy shop and placed the carcasses next to a pair of antlers, giving him the idea of creating a fake rabbit head out of deer antlers, which sold for $10. But the idea of a horned rabbit got out of hand, becoming a popular urban legend and an example of a fearsome creature, where they were described as virile but hostile creatures that could mimic human voices and sing campfire songs. Legend had it that the only way to calm an angry jackalope was to offer it whiskey to drink. Research suggests that at least some of the horned hairtails were inspired by sightings of rabbits infected with Shope papillomavirus. Before seeing the last member of this list, remember to like the video if you found it interesting, and tell me which of these creatures you liked the most. And if you have suggestions for future videos, it's really important to me. 17. Grafton's Monster. The Grafton Monster, also known as the Grafton Beast, is a large humanoid cryptid said to lurk in the woods outside the town of Grafton, West Virginia, a former railroad boomtown located in the United States. The monster is claimed to be a large bipedal humanoid creature with no visible head and covered in slippery white skin like a seal. However, it is not clear if he is actually headless or if his head is simply located near his chest.